Hello everyone. Today we're going to practice the past continuous and past simple tenses with a story about Mark and Julia in a rainy city. Are you ready? Let's begin. It was raining heavily in the city. It was raining heavily / in the city. Repeat after me. It was raining heavily in the city. Mark was walking down the street. Mark was walking / down the street. Repeat after me. Mark was walking down the street. He was carrying a blue umbrella. He was carrying a blue umbrella. Repeat after me. He was carrying a blue umbrella. Suddenly he saw Julia. Suddenly he saw Julia. Repeat after me. Suddenly he saw Julia. Julia was standing at the bus stop. Julia was standing at the bus stop. Repeat after me. Julia was standing at the bus stop. She didn't have an umbrella. She didn't have an umbrella. Repeat after me. She didn't have an umbrella. Mark approached Julia. Mark approached Julia. Repeat after me. Mark approached Julia. Hi Julia, were you waiting for the bus? He asked. Hi Julia, were you waiting for the bus? He asked. Repeat after me. Hi Julia, were you waiting for the bus? He asked. Yes, I was, Julia replied, but it's late. Yes, I was, Julia replied, but it's late. Repeat after me. Yes, I was, Julia replied, but it's late. Mark offered to share his umbrella. Mark offered to share his umbrella. Repeat after me. Mark offered to share his umbrella. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine the rainy city street. You can hear the pitter-patter of raindrops. You can see Mark and Julia standing together under the blue umbrella. Can you picture it? Okay, let's continue. They decided to walk to a nearby cafe. They decided to walk to a nearby cafe. Repeat after me. They decided to walk to a nearby cafe. While they were walking, they talked about their day. While they were walking, they talked about their day. Repeat after me. While they were walking, they talked about their day. Julia was telling Mark about her new job. Julia was telling Mark about her new job. Repeat after me. Julia was telling Mark about her new job. Mark was listening attentively. Mark was listening attentively. Repeat after me. Mark was listening attentively. They didn't notice the time passing. They didn't notice the time passing. Repeat after me. They didn't notice the time passing. When they arrived at the cafe, it was packed. When they arrived at the cafe, it was packed. Repeat after me. When they arrived at the cafe, it was packed. Were you hoping for a quiet place? Mark asked. Were you hoping for a quiet place? Mark asked. Repeat after me. Were you hoping for a quiet place? Mark asked. Yes, I was, Julia said. But this is nice too. Yes, I was, Julia said. But this is nice too. Repeat after me. Yes, I was, Julia said. But this is nice too. They found a small table by the window. They found a small table by the window. Repeat after me. They found a small table by the window. Mark ordered 2 hot chocolates. Mark ordered 2 hot chocolates. Repeat after me. Mark ordered 2 hot chocolates. While they were waiting, Julia saw an old friend. While they were waiting, Julia saw an old friend. Repeat after me. While they were waiting, Julia saw an old friend. The friend was sitting at a nearby table. The friend was sitting at a nearby table. Repeat after me. The friend was sitting at a nearby table. Julia waved and smiled at her friend. Julia waved and smiled at her friend. Repeat after me. Julia waved and smiled at her friend. Mark asked, who were you waving at? Mark asked, who were you waving at? Repeat after me. Mark asked, who were you waving at? That's my old classmate, Sarah, Julia explained. That's my old classmate, Sarah, Julia explained. Repeat after me. That's my old classmate, Sarah, Julia explained. Close your eyes again. Picture the cozy cafe. You can smell the aroma of coffee and chocolate. You can hear the chatter of people around Mark and Julia. You can see them sitting by the window watching the rain outside. Are you there? Great. Let's continue. Their hot chocolates arrived. Their hot chocolates arrived. Repeat after me. Their hot chocolates arrived. They were enjoying their warm drinks. They were enjoying their warm drinks. Repeat after me. They were enjoying their warm drinks. Mark asked Julia about her weekend plans. Mark asked Julia about her weekend plans. Repeat after me. Mark asked Julia about her weekend plans. I was thinking of going to the museum, she said. I was thinking of going to the museum, she said. Repeat after me. I was thinking of going to the museum, she said. That sounds interesting, Mark replied. That sounds interesting, Mark replied. Repeat after me. That sounds interesting, Mark replied. Were you planning to go alone? He asked. Were you planning to go alone? He asked. Repeat after me. Were you planning to go alone? He asked. Julia smiled and said, not anymore. Julia smiled and said, not anymore. Repeat after me. Julia smiled and said, not anymore. They agreed to go to the museum together. They agreed to go to the museum / together. Repeat after me. They agreed to go to the museum together. As they were talking, the rain stopped. As they were talking, the rain stopped. Repeat after me. As they were talking, the rain stopped. They looked out the window. They looked out the window. Repeat after me. They looked out the window. The sun was starting to shine. The sun was starting to shine. Repeat after me. The sun was starting to shine. Shall we go for a walk? Mark suggested. Shall we go for a walk? Mark suggested. Repeat after me. Shall we go for a walk? Mark suggested. Julia nodded and they left the cafe. Julia nodded and they left the cafe. Repeat after me. Julia nodded and they left the cafe. They were walking in the park when Julia's phone rang. They were walking in the park when Julia's phone rang. Repeat after me. They were walking in the park when Julia's phone rang. It was her sister calling. It was her sister/calling. Repeat after me. It was her sister calling. Julia was talking on the phone for a few minutes. Julia was talking on the phone for a few minutes. Repeat after me. Julia was talking on the phone for a few minutes. Mark was waiting patiently. Mark was waiting patiently. Repeat after me. Mark was waiting patiently. When Julia finished the call, she looked worried. When Julia finished the call, she looked worried. Repeat after me. When Julia finished the call, she looked worried. Is everything okay? Mark asked. Is everything okay? Mark asked. Repeat after me. Is everything okay? Mark asked. My sister needs my help, Julia explained. My sister needs my help, Julia explained. Repeat after me. My sister needs my help, Julia explained. I'm sorry, but I have to go, she said. I'm sorry, but I have to go, she said. Repeat after me. I'm sorry, but I have to go, she said. Mark understood and offered to walk her home. Mark understood and offered to walk her home. Repeat after me. Mark understood and offered to walk her home. As they were walking, they made plans for the museum. As they were walking, they made plans for the museum. Repeat after me. As they were walking, they made plans for the museum. They agreed to meet on Saturday morning. They agreed to meet on Saturday morning. Repeat after me. They agreed to meet on Saturday morning. When they reached Julia's apartment, they said goodbye. When they reached Julia's apartment, they said goodbye. Repeat after me. When they reached Julia's apartment, they said goodbye. Mark watched as Julia entered her building. Mark watched as Julia entered her building. Repeat after me. Mark watched as Julia entered her building. He was smiling as he walked home. He was smiling as he walked home. Repeat after me. He was smiling as he walked home. It had been an unexpected but pleasant afternoon. It had been an unexpected but pleasant afternoon. Repeat after me. It had been an unexpected but pleasant afternoon. Great job, everyone. You've just practiced the past continuous and past simple tenses with our story about Mark and Julia. Remember, we use the past continuous for actions that were in progress at a specific time in the past, and the past simple for completed actions. Keep practicing, and I'll see you in our next lesson.